honorable judges, ladies and gentlemen, teachers and fellow classmates. Do you know who's been called the father of modern experimental science and who discovered the law of the pendulum? Today, I have decided to do my speech on Galileo. Born on February 15, 1564, he was named Galileo Galilei. As a child, he was skilled at making toys. He played the lute and the organ and was well known for his paintings. His father, wanting Galileo to be a doctor, sent him to the University of Pisa. While attending church at the cathedral in Pisa, Galileo noticed an unusual thing. He watched the chandelier in the church swing in the air currents. Sometimes it swung in a wide arc, while other times it swung in a narrow arc. You or I might notice nothing about this, but Galileo did. 17-year-old Galileo used his pulse to time the swings of the chandelier, and whether it swung in a wide arc or a narrow arc, it always took the same number of heartbeats. Galileo had discovered the law of the pendulum. This was his first, but far from his last, contribution to science. Galileo left the University of Pisa when he was 21 years old. He never got his degree in medicine. One of the reasons was lack of money. The main reason, however, was probably lack of interest. He abandoned medicine to follow mathematics and physics. At age 25, he returned to Pisa as a professor of mathematics. During his stay there, it is said, he discovered the famous law of falling bodies. This law states that, regardless of an object's weight, different objects will all fall at the same rate of speed, except for when air resistance begins to become a factor. There is a story about this, and, although it is said to be false, it is still well known. According to the story, Galileo climbed to the top of the Tower of Pisa with two balls of equal size. One was made of wood, the other of cast iron. The cast iron ball was 10 times heavier than the wooden one, so, according to Aristotle and the theory of that day, the cast iron ball should fall 10 times faster than the wooden one. While a large crowd watched, Galileo dropped the two balls at the same time. They hit simultaneously with a thud. At age 27, Galileo had proven that his fellow teachers and Aristotle were wrong. Because of this, he was first to leave the University of Pisa. In 1592, when he was 28 years old, he became professor of mathematics at the University of Padua. He continued teaching there for 18 years, until 1610. Galileo's first observations in astronomy concerned the moon, and, not surprisingly, again opposed Aristotle's teachings. He discovered that the moon is not a smooth sphere, has craters and mountains on its surface, and that it does not shine by its own light. It only reflects the sun's. His most sensational discovery was made in 1610. He observed 4 bright moons around Jupiter, which he named after the Medici family, rulers of the area where he was born. These observations brought him increased opposition with the church and, again, followers of Aristotle. However, he found favor with a member of the Medici family, ruler and Grand Duke of the area where he was born. This man eventually became his patron. While serving as his patron's mathematician in Florence, he detected phases of Venus, similar to the phases of the moon, and a slight phase of Mars. Using one of his telescopes, he showed the Pope and other church officials what he had done. Yet, in spite of this, there was a dispute between church leaders and scientists. The church was also bitterly opposed to the idea that the sun had sunspots. Galileo firmly upheld the Copernican theory that the earth moves around the sun, while the church believed that the earth was the center of the universe. Church officials warned Galileo again and again to abandon the Copernican theory. In 1632, however, Galileo published his masterpiece, A Defense of the Copernican Theory. However, by this time the church had declared that belief in the Copernican theory was heresy. Because of his book, Galileo was brought before the Inquisition. After a long trial, the church officials forced Galileo to say that he gave up his belief in the Copernican theory. However, there is a story that says that after Galileo had risen from his knees, after swearing that the earth stood still, he said something softly under his breath. But what did he say? According to the story, he muttered, "But it does move." The reason that I admire Galileo is because of the way that he arrived at his conclusions. He was the first to use the modern scientific method of combining logic with what he learned from his experiments and tests. He also stated those conclusions with mathematics, the clear, concise language of science. Thank you.